And at this point, Paul, I think I'm just going to take questions as they come in. So if you wouldn't mind, either answering questions in the queue or asking them of me, and I'll answer them aloud, that would be fine. I would also like to invite anybody who has to go to please feel free to go ahead and drop out of the webinar because we are officially done with the instruction. So I'll remain on the line for the next, 15 to 30 minutes or so to answer questions. So thank you, everybody, for coming, and we'll stick around for a bit and answer questions.
Thank you, Kara. Here's a clarification on, and I don't have the original question, but removing or changing an assignment. It was clarified. Say a student submitted a wrong assignment in a research paper assignment when it was supposed to be submitted in a topic and proposal assignment.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can actually. For a good question. So for any individual student who submits an assignment, you could actually, oh shoot, I don't have any student in my course, so I can't show it to you. But we'll talk more. We'll see students in the course tomorrow. But I guess the short answer to your question is yes. If they accidentally submit the wrong assignment into the wrong assignment category, then you can just allow the student to resubmit. There's a function that allows you to set that for each individual student. You could just kick that assignment back to the student and say, hey, you submitted the wrong assignment here. Please submit the correct one, and they'll be allowed to do that, yes.
Okay, another quick one that a couple of folks have asked. It has to do with email, and we may cover this tomorrow, but is there a way to forward a message to an email address outside the classroom?
Oh, yeah. So the announcements tool is a tool that does send students emails. So as an instructor, if you create an announcement, the announcement appears, on the course homepage. The announcement will appear on the student's homepage in their personal workspace when they log in. And the student will also get an email notification of that announcement. So really the student gets those announcements in a couple of different places. Also, the assignments tool and a couple of the other tools in Sakai are actually integrated with the announcements tool so that when you create a new assignment, that automatically creates a new announcement, which automatically goes into the student's email and so forth. Now there are 4 other tools besides the announcements tool that can be used for either one-on-one asynchronous communication or one-to-many asynchronous communication or notifications. All of those tools can optionally send emails out of Sakai.
Okay, thank you. A couple that relate to each other. Can you rearrange the order of the assignments? And if so, which I believe we can, is this a master function or does it only reorder our view as an instructor?
There is a reorder function. You'll see it up at the top of the assignments tool, and it does reorder for both instructor and student. Reorders for everybody.
Okay. And then here's another one that everybody might be interested in. How easy is it to back up and restore individual classes?
So if you're asking about, let me see, how do I answer that? If you're looking for a way to archive an entire course from Sakai and save it on your computer like you would with Blackboard or WebCT or Angel or something like that, you just can't. That's a function that is for an entire course site, not available in Sakai at this time. However, you can archive many of the important components of your course. It just has to be done individually. So for example, you can, save your tests and quizzes to your computer. You can save your lessons to your computer. What a lot of instructors do instead of archiving and then deleting their course, is they just unpublish their course instead. What that does is it preserves all of the records and all of the content and all the student submissions, but it disallows the students from seeing the course. So it's less of an archive and export function, and instead it's more of like an unpublished function, so that the instructor can still see their old course that they taught 3 semesters ago, but the students from that course will not, but their records will remain.
Alrighty, here's another one. How do you allow specific students to resubmit an assignment?
Someone wants to see how. Okay, let me put a student in my course and I'll show you that workflow. We'll pick on this poor student.
And Kara, as you're tracking on that, there's a couple of other functionality type questions that if we're going to cover them tomorrow, then we can hold off. You had mentioned the podcast tool. A couple of folks had wanted additional information about that, and then also the reporting piece. What kinds of Sakai reports or administrative reports are available.
I'm not covering either of those tomorrow, so hang on to those, Paul, and okay. Let's answer those once I get through this student instructor workflow. So, okay, I'm gonna be a student now, and I'm going to, oh dear, what's the name of my course? Management 201. Okay, I'm going to be a student, and I'm going to go submit an assignment, and let's say that I am submitting assignment 3, but I'm doing something wrong. Either I'm doing a poor job at this, or maybe I'm submitting the wrong thing, or whatever. So I'm going to submit that. And oh, I have to check the honor pledge. Okay, I will check the honor pledge. There we go. And now let's say the instructor gets some sort of notification somehow that student has submitted that assignment. Maybe the instructor got an email notification or something. But at any rate, what we see here is that the student, that I have 1 submission total so far, and of that 1 submission, 1 is new, has not been graded. So now I go to the grade screen, and I see, aha, this student has submitted something. So now I'm going to grade that student's work. And I look at it, and I say, oh, this is bad. For whatever reason, it's bad. This is bad. I will mark this in red pen. This is bad. Let's say, student, you submitted the wrong research paper. Please resubmit the correct one. At this point, if I scroll down all the way to the bottom, I have to give them a grade. So let's give them 0 for now, poor student. And we will allow them to resubmit. We will give them X number of chances. Let's go with 1. And we'll allow them to resubmit until some specified date. So at this point, I have to decide which button to press. If I would like the student to know that they are allowed to resubmit, what I need to do is release this to the student. So I click Save and Release to Student. There we go. And that's been saved. And now the student might get an email, depending on whether I selected that option when I was creating the assignment. But let's say the student gets an email, and they know now that what they need to do is take a look at their grade on week 3 assignment. So I see the instructions. I see my grade is a 0, and so that's scary. I better continue scrolling and see what happened. So my instructor has written directly into my assignment in some red text. And what they also said was, hey, you submitted the wrong paper, so what you need to do is submit something else. So I realize, oh, that is wrong. I'm going to submit something else instead. And resubmit, and that's it. That's how that's done. So there were a couple of other questions, Paul, and I forgot what they were already. Something about statistics or I can't remember the other one.
The podcast tool, if you could spend just a minute talking about the podcast tool, and then it was asked about site stats, reporting capabilities.
Okay, yep, I'll talk about one and then the other. So the podcast tool in Sakai is an extension of the resources tool. So if you are interested in adding the podcast tool to your site, what you should do is first go to your site and then select the site editor. If you click Edit Tools up at the top of the site editor and scroll through this huge list of tools, you should see one called Podcasts. And we'll go ahead and add that. So when I go to the Podcasts tool, I get basically a URL for this Podcasts folder. This is kind of the RSS URL that users can put into whatever podcasting software they're using. I can also add my podcasts using this add function, right? So I can go find my MP4 or MP3 file, whatever it is, and add those into the Podcasts tool. So basically the Podcast tool is kind of just an RSS feed for podcasts that you've uploaded so that users will be able to access those podcasts from different types of devices. Look what happened to the Resources tool once I created the Podcasts tool. There's a folder here now in Resources. I could actually just upload stuff right into this Podcasts folder using Resources, or I could use a Podcast tool. Either way, it does kind of the same thing. And so I want to be clear, Podcasts is not a tool that allows you to create podcasts. It's a tool that allows you to store and distribute podcasts using, basically any type of software that can play podcasts. So I hope that answered the podcasting question. I think the other question was about reporting. So Sakai does have a bunch of different types of reporting. It's probably different from whatever types of reporting you're used to seeing in other systems. But one way to report, at least at the course level, is through the Site Statistics tool. So I'm actually, I'm going to go into my Winter Institute course and take a look at the site statistics because we've probably had a lot of activity today. And as we can see, yes, it looks like we have had a lot of activity. We've got 136 members of this site. There were 0 this morning. There's been some activity, and it looks like there's so much activity it's taking a while to load. I can also, as an instructor, run reports. In addition to this summary information that is currently displaying, I can run reports on different types of activities. So if I'm curious, for example, to see how many people actually downloaded that zip file, I can create a new report for that and say, you know what, I would really like to see how many people downloaded this Winter Institute.zip file within the last, we'll just say 7 days. And then I could run a report on that single file. I can also run, various other types of reports, not only on files, but I can run reports on types of events, like who looked at an assignment and when, and who opened a test, and that sort of thing, who visited the course and how many times each person visited the course. I could kind of virtually take attendance. Though, of course, taking online attendance is really kind of hard because, somebody could just log in and then leave and go play basketball or something. You don't actually know if they were paying attention or not, but you can run reports here at the site level. Now, this site statistics tool is also available at the admin level, and you can run more aggregated sort of server-wide reports from an administrator's perspective using this tool. So I hope that mostly answered both the podcast and the site stats question. We've still got 12 minutes left on the schedule, so if anyone has other questions, feel free to ask them. Or Paul, if you have collected more questions, feel free to let me know what those are and I'll answer them.
All right, let me get unmuted here. There was a couple of questions that it's more to do with permissions, and let me just read these together. Is it possible for an instructor to share his question pool with his teaching assistant? And then there's a similar type question that says, my school's implementation of Sakai doesn't allow me to see the student's view, which is annoying. So how is the student view a newer feature? Could it be an older version of Sakai that doesn't allow that?
It's a somewhat new feature to the rSmart CLE. I forget where this came from. Actually, I think this tool was contributed by Indiana University, and so it is not included in the out-of-the-box implementation of Sakai. So you may or may not have that. Now, there was a question about sharing question pools, and the quick answer to that question is yes. That is also a fairly new feature to Sakai, the sharing of the question pools. I think it came out in like version 2.6.4 or something like that. So you can share question pools with teaching assistants as long as those teaching assistants have the permission to create question pools and interact with question pools and so forth. Okay, well, we've got 10 whole minutes left. Are we done with questions, or do we have any more?
Let me just go through here. There are several questions that we will be answering offline, just so that folks know that if you didn't get your question answered at some point throughout the webinar, we will be going back through the archive of questions and getting responses to you. So thank you for your patience there. Here's one that I'm gonna mention two, and maybe we can end it on two. Several people asked about the migration of content from Angel into Sakai and what that, what we've done in the past and what that looks like. And then secondly, Kara, and we all know Sakai has similar features to other course management systems. What is the primary advantage? So Angel migration and primary advantage of Sakai over some of the others. Sure.
I can answer the first question pretty quickly. That second question was kind of loaded. So
yes.
What I would like to do is redirect that question to actually I think it was a white paper that that Nate Angel wrote, and I can get that link in just a minute. But let me address the first question first regarding migration from Angel to Sakai. So yes, rSmart has worked with Angel before, and the migration of Angel content into Sakai. I'll share with you that it is not a super easy push button process to migrate from Angel or any other system into Sakai. Now that said, we have, meaning rSmart, as well as other members of the community, developed some reasonably technical tools that can actually help move the content and the assessments from Angel into Sakai. So we have a toolkit and an offering where we kind of teach you how to use it and how the process works and so forth. The process is, at this point, somewhat labor intensive, meaning it's not hard to technically transfer the content, but it does take a little bit of time. Usually for somebody who's working in a dungeon, kind of working on that technical migration. that part, though, I mean, I would say it takes a little bit of time, but that's the easy part. I think the hard part with any migration is making sure that you're setting expectations properly with the faculty members so that they don't get so upset that they refuse to use the new system. So I mean, there's some technical, tasks involved in migration, but really, because Sakai has so many different tools and so many different ways to present content, it absolutely needs to be up to the instructor to kind of decide on the design of the presentation layer for their course. So what that means is that your instructors will need training on Sakai if you're going to do an Angel to Sakai migration. They need to play with the Sakai tools and kind of, say, oh, so this, view site as tool, that's the same as the sunglasses tool in Angel, or, oh, these agents that automatically create, and assign people to groups. Oh, that's what this means in Sakai, and so forth. So, so I would say migration is less than painless. If any other companies are trying to tell you that it is a push-button approach and that it is very easy, they're just wrong. And so I would encourage you, if you're hearing anything otherwise, to really investigate how any migration effort is going to work, and get it pretty detailed if you possibly can before you actually start. It's not painless, but you can do it. I mean, we've got some clients who are working on that right now. Some of them are doing some manual work. Some of them are using some more automated tools. We've had some clients just kind of handle their own migrations and not have us help at all, which is totally fine. So that's what I have to say about migration at this point. Regarding the why Sakai question, why don't I, whoops, that's not what I wanted. Actually, you know what I did? You know what I think I did? I think I might have put that actual document in the Winter Institute package. Hang on. Yes, here we go. How about why Sakai now? So, yay, there's a PDF file. I think this is the white paper from Nate. Yes, so you should read that. And as you can see, it's kind of long, which is why I can't quickly answer your question. But if you read that, that might be able to help. Any more questions, Paul?
No, I believe that's all for now. I'm going to spend a little time, everyone, just so you know, I'll spend a little time getting responses to you. But no, I think that's it for now. We can let everybody off the hook here.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and perhaps we won't lose too many of you tomorrow. And right, so we will see you tomorrow, and have a nice rest of the afternoon. Goodbye.